Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my end of year unhaul. So as you guys will know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, any books I don't give 4 or 5 stars I will lend out to friends and family, and then once they've kind of done the rounds I will unhaul them. I don't do this like strict points in the year, but I do like to have a little like pre-Christmas clear out just in general of my house, which I'm not sure my husband and son enjoy that much, but definitely of my books as well. So I've got 25 books to show you. Just want to make it really clear, quite a few of these were gifted to me by bookish friends and also family, and just because I've unhauled a book that someone gave me doesn't mean I didn't like that person or anything silly like that. These are just the books that, though I might have enjoyed them in a first read through, I'm not going to reread them, so I just pass them on so somebody else can enjoy them. So yeah, let's get started. So I have not got any particular order to this. I've just been putting books aside since the summer, I think. And now I've got a big bag ready to go to the book barn, which is where I donate most of my books, except for the ARCs. Someone comment below and tell me what to do with the ARCs, because I think I've got at least one in here and I don't really know what to do with that. Anyway, I'm not going to explain too much about each book because we'll be here forever because there are 25 books, but let's just go through and let's go with the one that will probably be most surprising, which is In Bloom by CJ Scoos. Now, before you panic or think that I've been kidnapped and this is some kind of like cry for help, I love the In Bloom series. However, for my birthday, my amazing husband got me this copy, which is signed. Oh yeah, signed by the author. So it says, "To Vicky, of all the peas in the world, you are the sweetest. Thank you for all your support. Love, CJ Scoos." So I don't need my original copy, which is also cracked because I read that one. This one is going to be my my signed edition. She also sent a signed book plate for me to put inside Sweet Pea, which is like the most exciting thing ever. So yeah, I'm keeping this one, which I'm going to put up here so it doesn't get mixed in with the others, but this one is going out into the world for somebody else to enjoy. If you like thrillers, this is Bridget Jones meets American Psycho. I've talked about it loads, highly recommend. This is the second in the series. The first book is Sweet Pea, and the third one, Deadhead, is coming out in February, I think. And I'm in the acknowledgements for that, which is very, very exciting. So that's the first one. Secondly is a book that I gave 5 stars to and thoroughly enjoyed, but quite a few of these are thrillers because I don't tend to reread thrillers that often. And that is A Killer's Mind by Omar. I read this over the summer, I think. Really enjoyed it. I think this one was gifted to me as well. I can't find the little thing. So if you gifted this to me, thank you very much. Thoroughly enjoyed this. If you like serial killer kind of... It is a procedural because it's a FBI, is it FBI behaviourist or something that we're following, but this was really, really cleverly done. I hardly ever give that kind of book 5 stars. Love this one. I've also read the second one, which my husband's currently reading, and we're definitely going to read the third. We both really enjoyed this, but I'm just not going to reread it. And also it's this weird like American paperback size, so that's an English size, and then that's the American. Can you hear the rain? It's so rainy here today. This is the joy of filming in winter. Yeah, so also it doesn't fit on my shelves. And yeah, it's done the rounds. It can now go out. Somebody else can enjoy it. Then we have a book that I kept telling myself I was going to reread, but it's been on my shelf for 2 years and I've not picked it back up. And that is The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill. So Louise O'Neill has written some of my favourite books, so Asking for It and also Only Ever Yours. I absolutely adored by her. But then there's also been a couple, so this one and... there was another one, I can't remember what it was called, but I didn't love as much. And this pains me to give this away because it's so pretty. Is this the one with the nice... yeah, look. It's so pretty. But I just didn't love it. And it was marketed as a feminist retelling of The Little Mermaid. And for me, I think I gave it 3 stars. I just didn't love it as much as I was hoping to. And like I said, I kept saying I was going to reread it and I just haven't. So again, that can go out into the world. Then we've got a book that I read this year and that was gifted to me by my brother, so Ben, if you're watching this, sorry. It's Invisible Women by Caroline Criado Perez. So I read this over the summer, and yeah, I'm pretty sure Ben gifted this to me. Yeah, he did. He said, "Don't know if you've read this or not, but if you haven't, then I'd want a copy of this in my house if I were you, as evidence." Love Ben. And I can see why he sent it to me because, as it says in the subtitle, it's exposing data bias in a world designed for men. And I read it over the summer. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was a bit dense for me. It's very data heavy, as you would expect. But also I didn't love how, like, the whole point of this book is about how women are excluded from things like safety testing on medication and cars, and how like even city planners are planning for men rather than women. but she completely left out trans people, and I think it's a bit odd to write a whole book about how one group of society are excluded and then exclude other groups. So I didn't love it, and it's not one I'm going to reread, and it's this massive hardback. So sorry, Ben, I know you wanted me to have a copy as evidence, and it was interesting in places, it just wasn't quite for me, and it can now go and be for somebody else. Then I've got a book that I have reread a few times, but I'm not going to reread it again and again. It's a big hardback. It's Philippa Gregory, The Virgin Lover. This is just part of the Philippa Gregory Tudor series. It was fun. It's pretty battered, but I think it just gives it like extra patina. And it's 600 pages or something, so it's a beast of a book. I really enjoyed it both times, although it is a lot of like horrible people doing horrible things to each other. And again, I only have so much space on my shelves, and I've got I love hardbacks, as you guys will probably know. I am more of a hardback reader if I have the option, but I've only got so much space, and this one is just too big. Then we've got another hardback, which is Sleep by C.L. Taylor. Any of you who've watched my unhauls before will have seen this book come up before. So my lovely friend Charlotte from Books and Bargains, we managed to meet up at a distance in September, and she had a whole bag of books for me, and she'd forgotten that I'd already read and unhauled this book, so this was in the bag, so I'm just unhauling it again. It is a really good, I think I gave it 5 stars, maybe 4 or 5 stars. It's a really good kind of closed in setting thriller. I don't remember it being particularly violent, so it could be a good one if you're looking to get into the genre. And it's got this seriously creepy, there's something about that cover that just really creeps me out. It's so eerie. So would highly recommend, but I don't need a copy because I'm not going to reread that one. Then I have got Vox by Christina Doucher, is that how you say it? Yeah. Which I read last year. It was one of many books that gets, yeah, it's got here, Petrifying Reimagining of The Handmaid's Tale. I need to do a video at some point of books that were like Into the Handmaid's Tale that weren't. Which one of these? This is one of those. I had really high expectations of this book because it's set in a world I think women are allowed to speak 100 words a day. Yeah, 100 words. And if they go over that limit, they get a seriously strong electric shock. And it was such an interesting concept because if you change that one thing, everything changes, which is one of my favourite things about dystopian fiction, is like when looking at the effect of changing one element. But I really hated the ending of this, and it's got a romance in it that was completely unnecessary, and yeah, it just fell a bit flat for me, so that can go out to the world. Although again, it's another cover I really like. I also really like the spine, which I think is why it's sat on my shelf for a little bit, cause like, but it's pretty, but it's also taking up space, so out it goes. Then we have The Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman. Alice Hoffman is probably one of my favourite authors. She wrote Practical Magic, and she's written so many things. She writes kind of sort of historical, kind of, it's like real life but with magical elements to it, which is one of my favourite subgenres. This one is set in New York in 1911, and we've got a girl who's raised in the circus by her father, I think, something like that. I really wanted to love this, and I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars, but it was just really slow. Alice Hoffman does a lot of like character study, and sometimes I like that. It's kind of one of those things I like to dip in and out of sometimes, but for me this was just a little bit too slow. And this was gifted to me by my lovely friend Charlotte, who's not a booktuber, so thank you, Charlotte. I did enjoy this. I'm just not going to reread it. And also, this is the opposite problem that I have with the tall American hardbacks. This is the mass market paperback, I think, and it's really little, so again, it doesn't really fit in with the rest of my books. So yeah, that one is going. I'm trying to make piles according to size so it doesn't all fall over. Then we've got a book that I read at the start of the year and enjoyed, which was The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds. This is a middle grade. It's, I guess, middle grade fantasy, but it's mostly about grief. It's about a little girl whose brother dies, and it's about and her mother then tries to follow into the land of yesterday, which is where dead people go to try and bring her son back. And this little girl, what is her name? Cecilia. She feels a lot of guilt for what happened to her brother, and she's trying to deal with looking after her father, and the house is like freaking out because her brother and her mother have gone, and it's just this really beautiful tale of grief. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was thinking about keeping it for Charlie, but I don't think it's the kind of thing he'll want to read. So again, it's going out in the world for somebody else to find. Right, next one is A Wayland by Ramona Asubel, like the font on here makes it really hard to actually read the name. This was recommended to me by Harriet from Harriet Rosie Reads. She did a series on her channel a while ago where she asked people for what books they would like her to recommend them specifically, and I asked her for a recommendation for a collection of short stories, and I think I've got at least one other short story collection in this stack, because short stories is something that I wanted to read more of this year. I've had some really successful ones. I really enjoyed The Cat in the City, which I'm keeping hold of. This is one that she recommended to me and I did enjoy it. I think again I gave it 3 or 4 stars. It's quite odd, these stories, they're quite whimsical. I think the main issue I had with it was that some of the stories weren't that short, they were like 30 or 40 pages, and one thing I found for me is I really like my short stories to be short. So if you know any collections of short stories where the stories are really short, that's what works best for me with this kind of format. So yeah, I did enjoy this, but I'm not going to read it again. So like I keep saying, it's going out into the world. Then I've got a book that my brother is going to kill me for getting rid of, but it's massive and I'm not going to read it again, and that's Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel. He will kill me because she's one of his favourite authors, but this thing is huge. It's like 500 pages, so she's thick and I only have so much space. I enjoyed this, and it's, which one is this? Oh yes, so I read this I think maybe 2 years ago. So this is historical fiction, and we're following Thomas Cromwell in the aftermath of Anne Boleyn being murdered by Henry VIII. And it's about the power and the politics and all that kind of stuff. I've also read the second one. No, Wolf Hall was the first one, wasn't it? And then, yeah, Wolf Hall, and then Bring Up the Bodies. I haven't read the third one yet. But this is just too big. I'm not going to go back to this. I enjoy the story, I think, because I also read Place of Greater Safety, which is massive. It's over, I think it's like 900 pages, and again Ben sent that to me and I read it over the summer. For me, I think Mantel is a little bit dry. It's a little bit factual, and weirdly, this is going to be a weird thing to say, it's almost too detailed. I want a bit more story and a little bit less history, like historical detail. So yeah, someone will love this. It's got a beautiful cover, but I'm not going back to it, so it's going. Then we've got Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane, which I think was also gifted to me by the non-Booktube Charlotte. Yes, it was, so thank you again, Charlotte. So this one is a closed setting, because we're on an island. It's 1950 something, I think. And a US Marshal is sent to Shutter Island, which is this place where they keep the criminally insane. And he's sent there because a murderer has vanished from her room, so he's sent to try and find her. I enjoyed this, but it's one of those rare times I think the film is better. This is the film cover. I saw the film first, so I knew what was going to happen, and the film very, very closely follows this book, like almost word for word, which is a great adaptation, but reading the book didn't give me anything extra to the story. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I think I prefer the film, and hopefully somebody else will enjoy this copy. Then we've got The Chain by Adrian Mckinty, who sent me this. Oh, Audrey from Bookstagram, so thank you very much, Audrey. I was really excited for this book because the premise is that a woman's daughter is kidnapped, and she's told by the kidnappers that the only way to get her daughter back is to kidnap somebody else's child and to keep the chain going, which I thought was a really fascinating concept. I've not read a book by this author before. I'm not sure if it was a debut or not. But I had a slight problem with the pacing. I think I gave it 4 stars in the end, so I did enjoy it and I would recommend it. But I'm just not going to go back to it. Like I said, there are quite a few thrillers in this. Okay, then we've got one which is one of my most controversial bookish opinions, apparently. So this is a book that I kept saying I was going to reread and give it another chance, and I just haven't, and I'm probably not going to, and I'm running out of space on my shelves. So I'm getting rid of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which might get me thrown off Booktube. This is such a Booktube darling, this story, and I just don't get it. I've read it. To be honest, I was bored senseless. And then I watched the recent adaptation on Netflix, which I thought was okay. But again, I probably would have given it like a 3 out of 5 maybe. I'm not quite sure that I get the hype with this book. This is a beautiful edition, and it was nice to have on my shelves, but I'm not going back to it, and if I wanted to, I could listen to it on audiobook. So yeah, please let me stay on BookTube, even though I just don't like Rebecca. Sorry. Then I've got a book that I read years ago and I was keeping for Charlie, but again, I don't think this is going to be for him. This is an arc actually from March 2014, which is A Boy Called Hope from Lara Williamson. So in 2014, or just before that, I was doing my master's degree in creative writing, and we'd occasionally get arcs. And yeah, this is an uncorrected proof copy, so I need to work out what to do with this. I also can't totally remember what this is about. I think this is about a trans boy. Yes, so this is a book about a boy, Dan Hope, a story about his dreams and wishes, his fears and his worries, his search for hope. Because in life, sometimes things are complicated and messy. Not everyone is perfect, things can surprise us, they can make us laugh, but they can also make us cry. This is Dan's story about what makes the world go round, what brings people and families together, and most of all, how hope helps you dream. I remember being really impressed by this when I read it, and yeah, that's kind of all I can remember. I read it years ago, and I was keeping it for Charlie, but I don't think it's the kind of thing he'll want to read. He's more into like detective fiction and the dark stuff, basically. Can't imagine where he's learnt that. But yeah, this was really lovely. It's definitely a book I'd recommend, but it's just not going to get read again in this house, so out it goes. Then we have The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware, which I think was gifted to me by Lehane. Did Lehane give me this book? Can't find the note. This is what happens sometimes. I definitely buddy read this with Lehane from Literary Diversions. Ruth Ware is really hit and miss for me. I loved Turn of the Key. A couple of the others I've been a bit lukewarm about. But this one was good. I think I gave this 4 stars as well. So yeah, this is about a girl called Harriet who is absolutely broke, struggling with life, and she is alone, she's an orphan, and she gets a letter to say that her grandmother's died and left her something in her will. And Harriet's confused by this because she doesn't have any grandparents. The grandparents that she thought she had died, and she thinks that it might be a mix-up with the names. But because she's so broke, she decides to give it a try anyway, go and visit his family and see what happens, and it goes from there. I thought this was clever. I did see the plot twist coming from quite early on, but I have said before that doesn't really impact my enjoyment of a book. It's just a hazard of reading so many thrillers. But I've read this, my husband's read this, my mother-in-law's read this. It's not going to get any more reading in this house, so out it goes. Then I've got PJ Tracy Want to Play. This was my husband's, and again, it's one of these weird, like, small books. Oh, books are falling over now. That's good. Yeah, I read this I think in August. This was a kind of easy, like what I would call like a cheap thriller. I can't actually remember anything about it. I think it's a cop procedural with a serial killer. It was fine. Husband's read it. Doesn't fit on my shelves. It's going. Then we've got 3 Women by Lisa Todeo, which I read in November. So if you haven't seen my November wrap up, I will link that in the description. So go and have a look and see what my main thoughts were. This was gifted to me by Charlotte at Books and Bargains. We then buddy read it together. I enjoyed it, would recommend it. It's brutal, it's hard reading, it's non-fiction, but I'm not going to reread it, so it's going. Then we have a book that another book I read in November, which I really enjoyed, and that was gifted to me by Laura from what everyone else is reading. So thank you, Laura, for gifting me this. And that is Boy Queen by George Lester. I had fun reading this. It's a debut. I would definitely recommend it. It's about a teenage boy who discovers the world of drag and becomes a drag queen himself. I thought it was really fun, but I'm just not going to pick it up again. So hopefully somebody else will get some joy from this book. Then we've got a short story collection, You Will Never Be Forgotten by Mary South. This was very kindly sent to me by Book Break. This is a collection of short stories. I think I gave it a 3-star. And again, I think my main problem was with pacing and also with the length of some of the stories. They're all pretty weird. They're kind of also linked to technology and how technology actually makes us more lonely. So it's quite a melancholy collection. But I did really enjoy it. She's definitely an author I'd look out for more from. Really love the cover. Just not going to go back to it. So it goes. Then I've got another book. God, I really hope my brother's not watching this because he's going to kill me. I've got another book that my brother gifted me that I did enjoy. But again, I'm not going to pick it up again. This is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson, which I read last year. I would recommend this. This is a retelling of a myth, but I can't tell you which myth it is because it will give it away. It's weird, it's unsettling. I really enjoyed the writing. I need to find more by Daisy Johnson. Oh, I think this was her debut, so I need to see if she's published anything else yet. Gorgeous cover. Just not going to read it again. That's literally the only reason. And then I got 2 books that I really enjoyed, and again I was keeping for Charlie, but I think he's now too old for these. And that is Toby Alone and Toby and the Secrets of the Tree by Timothy D. Fombelle. Hopefully I said that right. I'm just going to hold this one up because they're kind of heavy. And these are, I haven't read these for years. I read them when I was doing my master's degree because I was writing kind of children's fantasy to start with. But this is about, basically, and it's also because I loved The Borrowers as a kid, and it kind of plays on that idea. So running from branch to branch, hiding in the hollow bark, exhausted, his feet bleeding, Toby's on the run, hunted by his own people. Toby Lolness is just 1.5 millimeters tall and is the most wanted person in his world, the world of the great oak tree. And yeah, I just love it. And also, I'm just going to take the dust jacket off because it's absolutely stunning. And I'd really recommend both of them. I don't know if there's any more in the series. Look at this map. Just how stunning is that? Yeah, I would definitely recommend these books. Oh, also, like, look how gorgeous the hook. Oh, I'm trying to think if I want to get rid of these. No, I do. They're not going to get read again here, and somebody else's kid will hopefully really enjoy them. So yeah, that's the first book. That's the second book. I'm not sure if there are any others. If you've got little ones that like fantasy, I would really recommend these, but Charlie's just not headed in that direction. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy them. Then I got 2 more. So the first one was part of my birthday present from Charlotte, Books and Bargains, so sorry Charlotte. I was really, really hyped for this book, which is why she picked it for me, and then it quite badly let me down. And that is Cinderella is Dead by Kaelyn Bayron. I was hoping for something wasn't. This is a retelling of the Cinderella myth, and part of it I really liked, and it was almost really good, and then it just wasn't. It felt very much like Adventure by Numbers. I could see where it was going immediately, and also I thought maybe it was a debut, and I thought, okay, you know, debut author. This author is really published, so yeah, I didn't love it. It did let me down, and it's going out to the world, but it does have the most like stunning cover, disappointing insights. And then the last one, if you have seen my November wrap up, you will have seen me rant about this book. I hated it. I DNF'd it 70 pages, which is really unlike me, and then had Charlotte spoil it for me, and it just sounds horrendous, and I don't know what to do with this copy because I kind of want to put it in the bin, but I don't really want to do that with a book. It's very conflicting, so tell me what to do with it. But it is, what is this even called? The Wives by Taran Fisher. This is an ARC copy that Charlotte gave me, and it's just bad. It's just bad. I've already ranted about it in that video, so go and check that video out. But tell me what I should do with the actual copy of it, because, I mean, if we had a fire, I would probably just use it for kindling, but we don't, because we live in a new build. So yeah, those are all the books. Let's sit a bit straighter now. Those are all the books that I'm clearing out right now. Drop me a comment and let me know which of those books you think I should have kept. By the time you see this, they will already have gone. Do you unhaul books, or do you keep everything you read? How do you do that? Chat to me in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already and you would like more of this chaos, then please click, I can't even say it, please click the button below, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks guys, bye!